He folds a newspaper along the same crease and rests it on his lap. The train hums beneath his feet. Across from him, the empty seat faces forward, as it always has. He glances at it once, then again, as if measuring something invisible. The doors close with their usual sigh. He does not look toward the aisle. Not yet. Every morning, he boards at the same time. He chooses the same seat by the window. He sets the newspaper down before unfolding it. He smooths the corner twice. Outside, blurred buildings pass without difference. He keeps his eyes low until the second stop. That is when she used to step in. He does not think about her name. He never knew it. Only the rhythm remains. At the second stop, he shifts slightly, leaving a careful space on the seat across from him. Not obvious. Just enough. People come in. People move past. No one sits there. The train moves again. He pretends to read. The same column. The same headline. He has already memorized it. His thumb rests against the edge of the paper. It stays there longer than necessary. Outside the window, the morning light feels ordinary. Nothing has changed. The second stop fades behind them. He waits a moment more, though there is no reason to. Someone laughs at the far end of the car. Someone coughs. Metal wheels press against the track with a low, steady rhythm. He finally leans back. The seat across from him remains untouched. He tells himself the train is simply quieter today. At the next stop, more passengers enter. Still, the space remains open. He does not turn his head toward the door anymore. He folds a newspaper again, carefully aligning the edges. The train continues forward. The morning continues with it. He begins arriving earlier than before. Not much earlier. Just enough to stand on the platform and watch the tracks for a few quiet minutes before the train pulls in. He tells himself it is to avoid the rush. When the doors open, he steps inside and moves to the same seat by the window. He places the newspaper on his lap. He smooths the corner twice. Across from him, the seat waits. At the second stop, he always lifts his eyes. Not fully. Just above the rim of the paper. Passengers enter. Shoes step across the narrow aisle. A coat brushes the pole near the door. For a while, he leaves the space open. If someone looks at the seat, he shifts his knees slightly, as if preparing to stand. It is a quiet signal. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it does not. When the seat is taken, he lowers his eyes immediately. He reads the same paragraph again and again. On days when the seat stays empty, he sits straighter. He does not allow himself to stare at it. He lets the absence settle there on its own. He has memorized the pattern of the stops now. He knows exactly how long the doors remain open. He counts the seconds without meaning to. There was a time when she stepped in just before the chime. Always close. Never rushed. She would hold the pole near the door until someone rose. Then she would move toward him. He had once thought about offering the seat before she asked with her eyes. He never did. He always waited half a second too long. Now, when the train slows at the second stop, his hand still pauses at the edge of the newspaper. He listens for the soft shift of weight that used to cross the aisle. The doors close. The train moves forward. He keeps his gaze steady, as if nothing is missing. One morning, the train slows at the second stop, and he does not lift his eyes. He keeps them on the paper. He reads a sentence all the way through. The doors open. He feels the pause in the air. The small shift of body stepping in. A sleeve brushes the pole near the door. He waits for the familiar weight of someone standing across from him. It does not come. He tells himself he imagined that feeling before. The doors close again. The train moves. He looks up too late, as if something might still be crossing the aisle. The seat remains empty. He studies it longer than usual this time. The worn fabric. The faint crease along the edge. It has always looked the same. He remembers how she used to hold her bag close to her knees. Not large. Always resting there, as if she never planned to stay long. There were mornings when their eyes almost met. He would glance up. She would be looking down. A quiet misalignment. Once, the train had stopped suddenly between stations. The lights flickered. Passengers shifted in their seats. She had looked up then. Not startled, just present. He had felt the space between them narrow for a brief second. He thought about saying something ordinary. About the delay. About the weather. He adjusted the fold of his newspaper instead. When the train resumed, she returned her gaze to her hands. Now, as the train passes that same stretch of track, he feels the memory settle in the empty seat. He tries to remember the exact shape of her face. It blurs at the edges. He cannot recall her voice. He never heard it. The realization does not arrive sharply. It moves slowly, like the train leaving the platform. He had waited for the right moment. The moment had been small. It had already passed. The train slows at the second stop, and he looks up before the doors open. Not out of hope, just out of habit. The chime sounds. The doors slide apart. Passengers step in and out with the same quiet urgency. Shoes cross the aisle. Coats brush against metal poles. He does not shift his knee anymore. He does not guard the seat across from him. If someone moves toward it, he lets them sit. If it remains empty, he does not straighten his back the way he used to. The newspaper rests open on his lap, unread. He watches the doorway without meaning to. Then he lowers his eyes before anyone can notice. There is no familiar figure stepping in at the last second. No small bag resting against careful knees. No quiet presence waiting for him to look up first. The doors close. The train moves. Outside, the same buildings pass in a blur. The same stretch of track hums beneath the floor. He begins to notice other things now. A man who boards at the third stop and always stands. A woman who hums softly under her breath. A child who presses his forehead against the glass. These details fill the space slowly. At the second stop, he no longer counts the seconds. He no longer listens for a step that will not cross the aisle. Some mornings, he arrives exactly on time instead of early. The routine remains. The seat remains. The train continues its steady path. He folds the newspaper along the same crease and rests it on his lap. For a moment, he lets his eyes drift to the empty space across from him. It is just a seat now. The train moves forward, and he lets it carry him with it. Not every opportunity disappears. Some simply do not return. Quietly, without warning. If you have ever thought, I should have acted then, this story may have reached you.